For the past 2 years, Jocko Fuel has been the only supplement I've consumed. It's helped me stay in shape now that my competitive career is finished. If you've been waiting to try Jocko, the wait is over. Jocko has now teamed with Walmart, bringing clean fuel to the entire nation. Jocko Fuel is loaded with all the good stuff and none of the bad. And I'm talking no added sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and absolutely no gray area or banned substances. Just pure, clean fuel to power your performances. Jocko Fuel is now available in Walmart nationwide. Products available at your local Walmart are Jocko Malt, ready to drink, Jocko Malt powder, and Jocko pre-workout. How convenient. Guys, the time is now. Consider trying some of my favorites like Jocko Go and Jocko Hydrate. You can even do it online. Use code CHAEL30 at JockoFuel.com or just stop by your local Walmart and get your hands on some Jocko ASAP. Don't wait, might not last. Fuel up with Jocko Fuel and crush your goals. Now there's no excuse for not having clean fuel. Guys, I want you to go get Jocko Fuel today at Walmart. Who is the best heavyweight in the world? I'm going to start by telling you what Daniel Cormier said. Tom Aspinall. Now, does that surprise you? For Tom to even be in the talk, right? And there's certain guys that have an opinion that matters more, right? Daniel Cormier, being the heavyweight for the champion of the world for as long as he was and associated for it as long as he was. Because don't forget, when Kane had the belt, which was an entire era, Daniel was associated. He was in Kane's corner. He was working out with him every day. He himself removed himself from the weight class so that he and Kane did it cross. You want to know the best way to start a day? Right there. Right there. I literally look forward to Jocko every day. Ethan puts him in a cooler over here, brings me one. Oh my gosh. I gotta have a quick sip, guys. I feel different. There's a placebo effect, right? When you know you're getting clean energy. Okay. Now, he went with Tom Aspinall. And he laid out his case. The power of Tom, the size of Tom, the youth of Tom, and he gave Tom a nudge in front of Jon because Jon is at a choice. And that choice is a very difficult one. It is very difficult to choose to sacrifice and to struggle and to be punched and kicked about the head, neck, and face in practice on a daily basis if that isn't something that you have to do. And Tom, as great as he is and as new as he is, to Daniel's point, is an interim champion. He's been associated with the pay-per-view one time. That was the fight with Curtis Blades, which, from what we're told, was not some blockbuster night. Right? He's not getting a Alex Pereira style check yet. And Daniel thought that made Tom dangerous. I think Daniel makes a fair point. We brought this up, of course, on the eve, or on the heels of, Francis Ngannou putting on a remarkable performance. Now, I come from a Francis analysis to you openly as a hater. Okay, I'm watching Francis to see him fail. I'm watching to see him have a weakness. And it makes for a very hard day for me. Because not only did Francis not have those things, which he should have. Francis should not have put on what I believe to be his best performance. After taking a break from doing the sport, oh, by the way, going and doing a different sport, oh, by the way, being completely distracted for a number of months where he did nothing. That was known as a knee surgery. He then suffers a tremendous tragedy in the loss of his son. That's going to pull his efforts in the practice room back. I mean, there was all sorts of, not to mention, we don't know how old he is. There was a time he was fighting, he was 36 years old. I'll meet you part way. He was at least 36 old. Oh, by the way, that was a long time ago. So I'm just sharing for you, like, as great as he's done, and as special of a DNA as he was blessed with, he's not going to win this fight against a younger Ferreira who, by the way, has the same natural attribute and benefit that Francis has. All of Francis's advantages are gone. That size, that strength, that length, that youth, that courage, that willingness to step in there and engage, they're all nullified. He's fighting the same guy. So for Francis to go out, time it. He times. If you go back and you watch that tape, he comes right under Ferreira's jab. He times that double. He gets in perfect position. He shows an advancement in his wrestling. Then his groundwork and his size, and he slowed things down. He was not afraid if that crowd was going to start booing or that ref was even going to threaten and bring him up. He was going to slow things down to maintain that position. He turns him towards the fence. I mean, this stuff you've got to work on a lot. I trained with Randy for a decade. Francis is now training with Randy for the better part of a decade, and I could just see, I know where you got that. Okay, I know where you learned that. I mean, this was one of the best takedown artists, Randy Couture, followed by the positional ground and pound that there's ever been, and I could just see that Francis is working on those things. I could see that he's curious. I could see that he's getting better. These guys don't get better at that age. They don't get better when they went and focused on something else. He appears to have gotten better. But he wasn't who I put forward, by the way. My offering in the best heavyweight, you want to know who I went with? And I got knocked out of the room by Daniel. He hated this. I went with Pereira. And I went with Pereira, who has never fought in the heavyweight division, but I went with them for a number of reasons. Heavyweight is at a very different spot. So is the sport as a whole. This sport was proven in 1993 and backed up all along the way to favor grapplers. Holly Holm came in. And maybe even before Holly, I should go to Jose Aldo. It's hard to go to Jose as a pure striker because he's got a black belt in jiu-jitsu. But if you go watch his fights, Jose did that whole run with striking. Conor McGregor came in, took that helm from him. Conor did it all with striking. Conor never took anybody down, not on purpose. You had a Holly Holm come in. Kickboxer, boxer, takes out a grappler, breaks every rule that we know from 1993. I mean, you literally had to go back to Maurice Smith versus Mark Coleman to find somebody as pure of a striker against as pure as a grappler of Holly versus Ronda. Okay. But then you have Israel Adesanya. Then you have Sean Strickland, who people credit as a grappler. He's not. Dricus Du Plessis, who did Greco-Roman wrestling. I put him in a striking category. Obviously, Israel Adesanya, and I move on to Alex Pereira, but not only. And the reason I'm bringing this to you guys is whoever you're going to say is the best heavyweight right now, you would also have to say is the best striker at heavyweight right now. You'd have to. There is not only not a top 20 guy in the organization that was an NCAA All-American, there's not even an NCAA All-American on the roster. Are you aware of that? There is not only not an Olympic or world participant or somebody with those aspirations that live that life in the top 10, there's not anybody that fits that bill on the roster. It is a striker's world right now, like largely we have never seen or even predicted, and that's where I come with Pereira. That's where I come with Pereira. Errol had made an argument about Jon Jones, and he said, I'm not stating for you that Jon isn't the greatest of all time. That's a different conversation. I'm not actually touching it. This is Errol talking. He says, I'm just talking about right now. It would be impossible to make that statement because he's only fought 4 minutes in 4 years. It's an interesting point. Now, we haven't seen anything from those 4 minutes that would disqualify Jon Jones from anything other than absolute greatness, but it's a fair point. If you're talking about right now and it's a microcosm, I don't know how much you can bring Francis into it, regardless of how great he looked. That was one MMA fight dating all the way back to his time in the UFC that was, guys, what are we at here when he fought Ciryl Gane? We had 2 years? Ciryl's had enough time to go and do 3 fights, pull out of a fight, and make a movie, right? I mean, what are we at, 2 years? And then you have Jon with one performance. I mean, it is a very interesting thing. I think it probably does come down to Aspinall and Pereira, and then that's just to pick them. Daniel went one direction, I went another, but it's food for thought. It's food for thought. And I would like a brief assessment, please. Two sentences at most. Get your thought out quickly, but leave me a comment. Who's the best heavyweight right now? Please don't do just popularity. Who's the best heavyweight right now, and why?